RHMax Radio back again. We're here with another fantastic product. That product is these two gentlemen in the ecosystem who are large and in charge and making 11 or 12 coins. I forget at some point. It's like the buying pressure. I just, the whole mental model of splitting buying pressure. It just goes away. I don't remember what it means anymore. I don't remember what it means because when you're making excellent products that help the ecosystem, maybe it doesn't matter as much. I guess I've clinged to that idea as well. Everyone, day 3 of the PulseChain Founders Week. I made it up and it became a thing. That's what happened. Welcome. Share the link. Tag us on Twitter if you'd like to as well. This is the AMA style, and we'll get into, if you're new to the Maximus ecosystem, we'll get into what it is, kind of the vision, and then some of the updates, of course, talk about each coin. Again, there's quite a few with very interesting purposes as well. Some of them have like these close collaborations. You got Poly, which is like this, Hedron stake deal, and very interesting collaborations. Also the mystery box. Hopefully we'll get to that at some point as well, which is always fun to talk about those benevolent wells. We can't get enough of them in the ecosystem. So anyways, without further ado, let's bring the two gentlemen in from the Maximus DAO ecosystem, Dipcatcher and Goldkey.
How's it going?
You're back.
Back
Both
again.
Are back.
Good to be back.
You've never been together except today. We are making history today. You're here together on stream with Max, and Dipcatcher's only been on the show about 11 times. Goldkey, I want to say 3. I'm going to go with 3. I think. Got to pump those numbers up, man. Got to pump those numbers up. Okay.
Dude, your numbers, you're top 10 community streamer. So congrats on all the views, and you've been working at it for a while now. So congrats on that.
I would not have known had you not posted. I'm like, holy crap, did I have that many views? I didn't even, everything, like sub count is a thing. When you see on YouTube Studio, it's like sub count's a thing. You get to see views. You have to like literally go out of your way to even see it. I don't know why, but that was actually pretty cool to see. And then of course, the whole point of the post was 50 million or so of everyone in the ecosystem, Richard and everyone included, our friend Somi and otherwise. I mean, that's powerful, man. Those kind of numbers. We're going to do some work.
Yeah, I don't know any other community out there that has the YouTube force that we do. I think we are definitely on top of that for sure.
Is it not one of those things where you kind of, you feel like you've been in the ecosystem again, like I was saying, this ecosystem for the most part, I pretty much got rid of all my other coins and I'm RH ecosystem and on for the last couple of years at least. And it kind of feels like, I try not to fill the echo chamber. I try to like look at what other people are doing, at least participate in other streams when I can and see what's going on. But when I see all of our streamers and all of the content, I just think there can't be other people doing this. I mean, maybe other people have got other sub counts and higher this and that and more media exposure otherwise. But the views and just the number of people we have, like 100 or more, am I wrong? Like we are number one. Like we are either number 1 or top 5 at least, I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
compared to other stuff.
I definitely try to research other L1s because there's like, I don't know, man, 200 out there now. And even base, which has a lot of attention right now, is kind of the mainstream L2. Like, it's hard to like find their community, whether it's on Twitter or hopping in their Discord. Like, I always try to like find out like who's the top people, like what's going on, and it's just hard to break into. Whereas like with PulseChain, I feel like it'd be very easy for someone to like, especially on Twitter and especially on YouTube, find us and learn about it. So I think that's huge. I don't think people give that enough credit. Like everyone's really worried about like PulseChain marketing and all this, but I think if we if we keep growing as we do with our marketing efforts and being active on all the social platforms, like I don't see how we can't succeed and continue to grow. Even through, and what's crazy is it's going to explode during the bull market. Like we're in the middle of a bear market. Most of the community's down, and yet like people are still showing up every day and contributing. So I think that's a real big testament. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's one of those, again, I don't want to be like this. Oh, you're only saying the stuff. You only have these stats because you're deep within the ecosystem. But boy, it's there's so many stats. I mean, you post a ton, Goldkey. I've literally like one of the most valuable accounts to follow these days because you're finding these awesome metrics from all the sites, from looking to Hex and from app to Hex win and stuff I've never even seen before. I'm like, wow, these are valuable charts that help you, show you a different picture than just drama on Twitter or price down. They show you not, I guess we can get tired of saying potential, But it's like one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like
Yeah.
you can't unsee these type of like things that just make you believe that we did it before and we're going to do it again. I mean, that it solidifies that. So
Yeah. I think this year, like going into it, I don't do like New Year's resolutions, but I kind of make like goals or like pillars I try to live by. And like truly I went into this year with the goal of creating value like in any way I can. And that's been kind of a big driver for like the kind of microsites I've been building, or just like the information I seek out, or the, you know, the blogs that I'll write, like just trying to bring maximum value across the board has been like, it's like allowed me to just with like that simple goal to like, you know, push into content. And it's been a big driver for me. So I appreciate the kind words. And I think you're probably in that same goal, because you know, without that kind of drive, I don't think you would be as consistent as you are on your channel.
No, it's like every day. I don't monetize. I literally just think, what can I do to provide value? Like, is it streaming? Is it covering products that I think are useful for the ecosystem? They're good for the blue chips, good for growing this. Is it creating content? Is it like producing content, like getting other people to make it, but I'm like producing or something? Like, how can I help the ecosystem grow? And it's very, you know, I think it'll take care. The rest of it will take care of itself. It's literally. It's like, if you believe, you know, Hex will do these amazing prices again, if PulseChain will do all the things we believe will do, PulseX, all the stuff in the ecosystem, all the other coins that we help think are good and healthy, and your favorite stuff, whatever it is. If you believe that, then what do you have to do other than be around, participate, you know, hodl, stake, like whatever it is? Like, what else do you have to do other than that? That's super motivating to me. Nothing else. I mean, you guys would not be here building on. I mean, again, that's what I think is special about you two as well, and all the stuff that you do is, a lot of people, for one, it doesn't feel transactional. Like sometimes you when you're talking to people or interacting with them, you just feel like it's kind of like, what is in it for them? Like, what is in it for me? You feel like you're trading something. But with you guys, if you just look at the body of work you have, there's no sack. And again, nothing against sack phases. Like, I think they have their place, and they've been doing amazing work. They've been bringing a lot of people in, and there's all the pros and stuff with that. But with your products, there's there's no sack phases. There's either like a, you know, 1-for-1 trade, or there's just an enablement of making the products easier to use. It's literally like, how can we make it more helpful?
Totally.
So to that I think that's unique in and of itself, and worth supporting, and those kind of ideals. And you just don't see that a lot. So I guess that's a good segue to talk about kind of the vision for why you're all here. You know, like, you've been following Richard for a while, just as I've been, and what is your vision for Maximus ecosystem, and why do you keep creating all these products? Like, how do you keep motivated to keep solving all these problems that are clearly, you know, beneficial to have in the community, all these tools?
I mean, I think it really comes down to just trying to enable people to be able to leverage the tools that decentralized finance enables. Like, this is probably the most important thing going on across the world, is a move from centralized finance to decentralized finance. And I think that if you're going to try to contribute that to humanity, it's like, you got to start somewhere. And I think that it was just like right place, right time, right community, to kind of build into and build around. And I think really what we both really kind of aspire to do is really kind of help Hex and like help our ecosystem continue to grow and continue to really be a force, for this movement. And also, I think that we both really have a strong desire to serve others, and and also I think it matches right up with just our desire to create as well. So kind of those different factors of helping others, working towards an important cause for humanity, and then also just being able to be like create solutions and products for people. I think that's really like the driving force that kind of helps push it forward.
And there's plenty of people in the community who are creative. They make products, but maybe they don't have that same force of wanting to either help people drive humanity forward, like inspire, like create these healthy games for us to play. And so we're not distracted with other things, or everybody can be distracted in their own time period. There's a time for that. but also building things that last for long periods of time. Was that just when you found Hex, was that one of the things you just couldn't look away from? You're like, this is the right thing. This is what I like. This is for me. And
well, it definitely, the thing related to the time frames that really actually mattered to me when I first learned about Hex was like seeing people locking in for a longer duration than what a normal crypto cycle is. Like that kind of standard 4-year cycle. Like by the time Hex had launched, that was like coming like towards the end of my first 4-year cycle. And so I kind of understood that concept. And a lot of that like big blow off from 2017 was people that were just in for less than one cycle. You know, it's like they buy the price up, then they sell the price back down and they're done. But seeing how Hex kind of spanned that gap beyond a single crypto cycle, that was like a big piece for me that that made me think that it you know, because there's going to be millions of cryptos that launch. You know, less than 1% of them are going to have any type of staying power, and then less of 1% of that are going to be like long-term successful. And I figured that one that is centered around longer than a single crypto cycle, maybe something like that has a better chance. And so I think that like time frame impact is big, and I think it kind of shows in some of our products where across the board, everything really does kind of have like elements of like long time horizons. Like with Team, that's a 1-year stake cycle. Like you have to stake for like incremental 1-year timeframes, and you know, compared to like all different other types of staking, which are kind of like, you know, short, like other than Hex staking itself, like a lot of short term, you know, stuff for like short term gains. And then even with, you know, like Destiny Maxi, you know, building around that long time frame that is kind of core to Hex. And then with like the upcoming PRTY launch has a 100-year max length stake. And so I think that doing things that help signal long-term horizons and intent to be here for decades, I think that's really important.
Yeah. I think for me, and kind of back to your other question too, about like, you know, why I do it. I see in the world today, like our generation, especially, kind of stuck in like an archaic system that like is bound to fail. You know, like everyone's kind of playing the 9-to-5 401k game. But at the same time, like we all know, one, we don't want like to wait till we're 65 and retire. That's kind of out the door. But two, it's like, who knows if that money is going to even be there. And everyone's definitely looking for a way to kind of break out and elevate their financial status to get what they want in life. Like, you know, like most people can't afford a house today, can't, you know, live in paycheck to paycheck. And so I really see a generation that's like going to be seeking the future of financial tools that like give them opportunity. And I think, you know, for me, like Hex was initially like, you know, DivCatcher brought me in around the launch. I wasn't about it. And I wasn't really even about crypto at that time. Like, we would have like very heated debates about like, you know, the US dollar failing. This was when DivCatcher was like a Bitcoin Maxi. We would have big arguments about that. I think for me with Hex, it was a combination of meeting the community. DivCatcher brought me to a Hex meetup in Vegas. I think that was the first one. And, you know, just getting around people that all shared kind of a similar vision and mindset around things, and just like an excitement around a shared goal was huge for me. And then once I really dove into Hex, like DivCatcher said, the long-term thinking, and it was very different than the game that everyone else was playing with, like the get rich quick and getting wrecked. And I saw something that could last, you know, and yeah, and then that was kind of an evolution into actually like building products for Hex. That was a cool transition.
Once you see it, it's what, you know, I started following Richard first before Hex, and it was like just him, his ideals, and then seeing those put into products has just been like one of the most miraculous things. I literally never this. I don't think anyone really appreciates how special this time is. Like, this doesn't happen. There's no, like, this stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah,
it is unique. It is novel. You know, it's amazing. Anyways, I'll leave it there because I want to get into the products. And yeah, so I'll put yours up here too. Thanks, Goldkey, for the thumbnail. I said, here's a screen. I don't have high resolution pictures of all of your babies. Please put them on here. And he sent me this, and it is glorious. So you want to walk through like how each one, like what are they for? What problem do they solve?
Yeah.
No, I guess first one is Maxi. That's the original max length stake pool. It was just kind of that was our first smart contract that we launched, and there was a 21-day mint cycle. Which funny history about that. We cut that short because we thought that there was a chance PulseChain was going to launch in mid-May of 2022, and we didn't want to cut it close to a potential 2022 PulseChain launch. We wanted to get that done. So kind of some fun history just to look back on. But that was a 15-year hex stake pool that gives users the benefits of 99.9% gas fee savings, which really matters for the long stakes. You can trade it anytime, and it maxed out the bigger pays better bonus because about 294 million hex was pooled, and it locked in a like 5x hedron bonus. So that was kind of the kickoff to all of this was Maxi.
Do you want to just kind of like go
Here,
down?
We'll alternate. We'll take
okay.
turns. You're up next.
Yeah. So the next kind of group of products that we launched, basically after Maxi, we were like, okay, well, there's obviously clear demand. This solves a big problem for Hex around gas fee savings and just increasing bonuses. And initially we were like, thinking about, do we want to launch a platform for people to launch their own? But we decided on launching a staking ladder, which is, if you've been in Hex for a while, you understand what that is, where you set stakes of different lengths to kind of span a yield curve. And so we decided on launching the perpetuals, which was also an upgraded version of the smart contract of Maxi, whereby rather than being a one and done stake, the contract will actually have an automatic reload, or we'll have an automatic restake feature. So there'll be a period of time after the stake ends where you can either redeem your hex or you can stay in the pool and your hex will be automatically restaked. So we launched 4 more hex stake pools, which are called the perpetuals, for that feature. And so each of these are a different stake length. So we've got base over here on the right, which is a 1-year stake. We've got trio, which is a 3-year stake. Lucky, which is a 7-year stake, and Deci, which is a 10-year stake. So that was in around this time last year, actually, in September of last year. And with that upgraded feature of having these perpetual stake pools, we wanted something that would be a driver in the future for people to want to continue to grow these stakes, aside from just the bigger pays better bonus. And so we aligned the perpetuals with a product called Maximus Team, which is this star token here. And Team is incentivized to grow the perpetuals. So it's basically a growth engine for these stake pools. And so it earns rewards from the size of the bigger pays better from the perpetuals, along with the hedron from those pools. And so, yeah, we launched those as kind of a cohort around this time last year. And really successful. Each was a pretty significant pool, and we launched them all at the same time. And the cool part about all these products too, like Dibcatcher mentioned, we were always pushing forward because we wanted to launch these before the launch of PulseChain in order to get these stakes doubled onto PulseChain, which we did, and I'm actually really proud that we did, because our community got their bags doubled, and now they have these big hex stake pools on both chains. Do you want to hop in, Dibcatcher, on the next product?
Yeah. So I guess the next kind of like cohort launch was WATR. And so kind of how those stake pools, they pooled hex and then were would stake the hex, and that's what the asset was. We right around the same time as that launch, Alex had released a kind of follow-on to Hedron, which was Icosa, and the result of Icosa was that a lot of people were making a bunch of small HSI stakes and then putting them into this auction system to mint Icosa, and then after some period of time, they were then auctioned off, and so there was like a couple. I remember it was like 30 days until the auction started, and we decided to try to, branch out and try something really new and build a contract for participating in these auctions as a pool. And so that was the just the highest risk. Like there was a lot with the auction process because it was so complex, and a lot of different kind of trade-offs to balance there. And so the poly contract had this like fail-safe mechanism where like if anything was not working how it needed to, because there really wasn't a lot of time to really test and optimize that contract, and so we decided to build this like fail-safe mechanism into it. Right away after the auction started, it became clear that it was that the way that it collected the HSIs from the auction, there's something wrong with it, and so about 10% of 15% of the hedron that went into it got effectively burnt, and then that triggered the fail-safe mechanism. So at that point in time, poly was backed by 0.85 hedron per poly, but then a couple hours later, the hedron deployer, who gets a portion of all of the minting of bonus hedron, they carved off like a couple days worth of the hedron that it accumulates, and they kind of backfilled the poly contract. So now what poly is a 15-year hedron stake pool, which is earning Icosa at a very high rate, and it's backed by about 1.1 hedron per poly. So it was probably the craziest thing in Maximus history, was like kind of like racing to roll this out, knowing that something could potentially go wrong, but so we decided to cap the downside risk of what, like the max downside is actually coded to be 15%. So meaning it could lose 85%. And so it didn't get anywhere near the max downside that the like fail-safe module capped it at. So that I think was like a really kind of exciting piece of the whole, pie, which, caused a lot of drama. But what's interesting is that, that it actually has poly actually has the chance to be like on an APY basis. It actually has one of the highest chances of being the highest yielding asset that we've made, because if the trend for the amount of Icosa that goes into that increases, and because it's programmed to never be able to end for 15 years, whereas most long stakes end after about a year, its piece of the pie just grows and grows. And so poly is set to be one of the dominant Icosa minters over the next 15 years. And so like on an APY basis, especially if Icosa kind of reaches its ceiling price, poly could shockingly be the highest yielding asset. And if hedron outperforms hex over 15 years, which it potentially could, especially as it gets more rare around year 10 on, like it's just crazy how like how poly with its storied history could end up being the highest yielding asset in the ecosystem.
So what you're saying is poly got crackers.
Yeah, it's great.
Poly got mini crackers.
But so related to poly is like for the bidding and just for like managing the stakes and everything, and just as kind of like a broad donation to support the Maximus ecosystem, people were able to mint a collectible token called WATR, that had like that's limited in amount. It had like a bonding curve, and so people minted WATR, and so just as like a symbol of support and just as a collectible. But WATR has, kind of a little its own little place in the upcoming party thing, which will kind of come out pretty soon. But yeah, so it's Poly WATR. That was in November of last year, and that was pretty wild. That was probably, honestly, that was one of the hardest points of the whole story, but also that's probably one of my favorite things, just that whole process and like everything I learned from it. And like, even when like the optimal scenario didn't come out, it actually turns into like still like high performing, high yield asset. So it's like, I'm actually probably most proud of Poly, to be honest.
Nonstop winning. That's how we do it, man.
Yeah, and then we've got DCA. I feel like you have to talk about DCA because that's your.
Yeah, so the DCA.
It's not GKA. That's true. Dip catcher algorithm.
Yeah, well, so dip catcher algorithm was a trading view algorithm that was designed to be a dollar cost averaging strategy, where it combines a couple different common TA, like some ideas from some common technical analysis that you might do and statistical analysis, and turns it into this framework for knowing when something's at a good price to buy, and also even helping you map out limit orders that you might want to use as well. And so it's a trading view indicator, and I've been sitting on this for years. Like if you look back to my old posts dating back to 2020, they all have this like kind of like these like kind of big bands and colors all over the chart, and it roots back to the original version of this, and so it's kind of been brewing for a while. And then early this year, I just decided to package it up and make it something that people could install and utilize. And so so we wanted to make it available for sale. And then also we wanted to allow like customers to do some type of like revenue share with this. Because like common theme across a lot of these things is like kind of this concept of like revenue share. And so we decided to do what in effect is a 50% revenue share on the dipcatcher algorithm by letting you mint an access pass on pro.dipcatcher.com. And if you mint the access pass, you also get a free buddy pass token called DCA that you can either give to a friend, or you can sell in the liquidity pool, or you can sell over the counter. And then people can burn their DCA token and then mint an access pass. So by minting an access pass, you get a free version that you can choose whatever you want to do with. And so that would, and then we end up having about like 500 or 600 people that now have access to this algorithm. So a whole lot of sales on that. And due to the like kind of scarce nature of it, there's like a speculative element to the dipcatcher algorithm access pass. And so that I thought was a really kind of exciting premise with how to sell a software product. And then also I've been working on just some upgrades to that DCA algorithm, and even some like brand new algorithms that I'll probably just add to all the people that have the DCA access pass. So that one was kind of like a little side mission that turned out to be a pretty big success.
Yeah, massive.
So it's kind of your I just want to ask on that. So it's kind of your Unisocks product, huh?
Kind of, yeah, like a limited amount, because the price of it ratchets up every like 100 customers, and so over time it may become infeasible to purchase, unless there's adding more algorithms to the whole thing. Maybe that increases the like price threshold that it could reasonably get to. But and the design of that was so that like it could kind of be kind of an exclusive thing where not everyone just like has access to it. It was a way to add like a nice little cap to the scarcity. But yeah, it's kind of like that where it's like a scarce launch.
Yeah, which is good because the more people that have that indicator, the less valuable it'd be, because everyone can snag the dips. But yeah, then we've got to the right of the DCA, we've got CHEX, which is a cross-chain hex index. So what CHEX is it was launched on both Ethereum and PulseChain, and what people can do is they can mint CHEX by depositing one EHEX and one PHEX. And so this allows people to easily buy both and buy exposure to both hexes on both PulseChain and Ethereum. I just checked. There's actually 1.3 million checks on PulseChain, and then 167K checks on Ethereum. So double that for the amount of hex that's in there. But it's been cool to watch. It's actually been tracking the combined price of hex pretty closely, and it has some interesting arb plays for people to to keep that kind of price peg of the combined price. So we launched that this year as well, and people really like it.
Yeah, I mean that was like a real side mission, like from
Yeah.
idea to to launch, because it's very simple, and it was something that I was like already effectively building with kind of like dual distribution and like minting coins with numerous tokens, and so like kind of had all the pieces together from all the other launches and stuff, and the and that actually it came pretty soon after, which isn't really shown here, but right when PulseChain launched, we had done like a gas bridge type of thing where people could swap ETH directly into PulseChain. And so that kind of had us thinking around like cross-chain stuff. And then that was kind of how the whole CHEX concept came to be. But CHEX is probably, it's probably it has some really innovative kind of aspects to it where it is a way to trustlessly have like a cross-chain price oracle, because the price of checks on both chains, it can never deviate too much away, or else there's like an instant arbitrage opportunity that closes it. And so the asset that lives on Ethereum is equal in value to the asset that lives on PulseChain. And so it's like, because on Ethereum checks that holds native EHEX and then bridged PHEX, and then on PulseChain PCHEX holds native PHEX and bridged hex from Ethereum, and so they hold the same asset. And but so that one was kind of an experimental launch, and to kind of help with people that if they wanted to like onboard people into both, because it was kind of a solution to just the complexity around onboarding now that hex is a dual chain asset. So but and I think that there's ways that we can kind of take that kind of in the future with like liquidity for different assets and different types of indexing. But that was a pretty cool little side quest right around the time PulseChain launched.
Yeah,
sweet. But last but not least,
Pool
Party.
Yeah.
So so Pool Party is kind of like the next generation of the concept of team and the perpetuals. And we wanted to make it where people could organize their own hex staking pools, and very fluidly, where maybe all the time there's a hex stake pool available to join, and then you can compare joining that to purchasing any of the existing ones. And so we and so kind of how there was a lot of success with team, kind of driving the big minting participation in Deci, Lucky, Trio, and Base. That's kind of the role that Party serves. And so Party is actually going to be there are going to be a couple ways to mint Party. One of which is you can burn team to get it. If you want to upgrade your team into Party, you'll be able to burn it directly for that. Or you can get it through an airdrop, which goes out to anyone who held any of these tokens as of the PulseChain fork. And then you can also get mint it through through the DApp. And then so there's a couple different ways to get it. And then what's different about Party versus Team is that while Team is on the 1 year long-term stake schedule, Party goes on a 2-week cycle. And whether you're holding your Party liquid or staking your Party, you're earning rewards in different ways. If you hold your Party liquid, you earn any ERC20 token that is sent to the Party contract address during that time. But if you stake your Party, you're not earning those tokens, but you're compounding your Party and earning more Party. So Party is kind of meant to be a similar type of marketing engine for the new hex stake pools that are going to be launching in the pool party ecosystem. And we really do want to make party kind of even broader than just hex stake pooling and DeFi assets, even related to hex. Like there's really a lot of opportunity to kind of apply these principles to different types of financial products, and then also with party, it can distribute the income in any type of asset. It's not like with team, there's like a list of 11 different assets that can pay in a team. Party, it's like anything can pay in, and so it's I think a really good solution to kind of being like an ongoing marketing engine for the new hex stake pools that are launched through the system.
Yeah, it's a very we've been I'm excited. I think once it clicks in people's head with party, like we've kind of invented this concept of like yield duality, where like Dipcatcher mentioned, holding liquid, you earn kind of the real revenue from pool party, the hex staking platform, but if we build other products that plug in and feed revenue, just holding liquid does that. But then you can also stake party and earn more party and earn the inflation. So it's kind of like hex in a way, in that like with hex, by staking, you're supporting the hex price. Staking party will support party price, but it also supports the amount of revenue that liquid party holders earn. So it's a really cool system. I'm working on like a diagram to kind of show it, but really, really exciting tokenomics around party.
Bravo, gentlemen. Just going to give a little clap. Everyone in chat, clap as well. We know you're clapping right now.
And kind of where to give an update on where party's at. So the party contract itself is complete. The last thing that really just needs to be done is the hex stake pooling platform, because right now we have the existing perpetual pools, but then for the new hex stake pooling, we've built a brand new type of diamond hand system for that's really powerful, a lot more user friendly, I think, and then it has like a whole hex stake pool deployer system, and so that's like the last kind of piece that just needs to, like, mainly around the UI, that it really needs to be finished. And so we'll probably be announcing like a party rollout schedule pretty soon. And once we kind of finish weighing out some of the different trade-offs and stuff, but yeah, so it's like, it's on testnet right now. And it's very, very close to completion, closer than ever.
Yeah.
Excited to get the party started. Unlimited memes, unlimited puns for that. What's your all's, because Goldkey asked a question the other day on Twitter about what everyone's favorite logo was. What are your all's favorite logos? If you had to pick one.
Lucky's
pretty awesome. Honestly, it's funny. I almost like over designed like WATR as like it's a collectible, but I mean WATR's logo is pretty awesome, and I do love party. But I don't know, Maxi's got a special place in my heart because that was like our original baby. So it's like, it's kind of a flagship logo, even though it's like the most simple. I don't know.
I love Team 2, even though someone pointed out it looks like a butthole. It's still not literally. It's still awesome.
Now I see it. Why do I know this?
The powerful North Star, but also it looks like kind of like X, Y, and Z, like kind of like a grid.
I've never actually seen I've never actually seen a butthole. So you're the expert there, Dip.
I'm gonna go with that answer as well. I don't even now it's like, if I were to imagine what it looked like, it would look like that. No, stop talking about that.
DCA is cool. That was actually the only one that I actually designed. That was like the OG Dipcatcher YouTube logo.
Honestly, like the color scheme on that one, I really, really like, because the green just pops and the purple just kind of like hugs everything. I like that one a lot.
People like the CHEX logo a lot. I think it's like a perfect way to match like the PulseChain hex and the Ethereum hex. That one came out really nice. I mean, they're all awesome. Like, and these are just like, you should see the other ticker logos that haven't been put to an asset yet. Like,
yeah, we've got a
lot of a Figma file with like all these different token logos.
Yeah,
and It's like
we
we
got
have
a couple.
more token logos than token ideas.
Yeah.
No,
we'll get there.
Don't worry, you have more token ideas. Here's one from the chat. Fast Abdul says, too many tokens. Please make a Maximus token that contains all your tokens in one. I suggested you could do a ERC11.
So, I mean, one way to, to get like on Fux, the Maxi pool has all the tokens, and it's actually a token. So that's kind of an index of all assets you can buy. But yeah, at some point it'd be cool to have an index of all of them. But yeah, I mean, to that question, I think that's something that people come at us a lot about, is just having so many assets. But like, I think that's kind of like when you look at all of our assets, we've been able to scale horizontally because of the types of assets we have, and that like most assets are very price dependent. Whereas like, 5 of our assets are hex stake pools. So like our real goal is to help hex grow, because that grows the value of these tokens, which is kind of our aligning force. And what price does is kind of a reflection of like, demand of hex at the time and the longer term thinking, but they don't steal from each other. Like it's kind of like a joined force around our hex stake pools, and they each serve a different purpose. And I think that goes for all of our assets. Like each one, like we just went through all of them, they have a unique purpose. And I think we've just kind of mastered the utility of ERC20 tokens as kind of a ledger. Like they represent ownership on a lot of our tokens, all of our hex stake pools. And so they're more like ownership tokens, rather than, like, we call them alpha tokens, rather than like coins, because they're not like, we're not trying to like pump the price on. They don't need to be pumped because they're backed. They're actually backed by another asset.
Yeah, they're like wrapped hex. It's like a hex backed, like stablishly growing coin. Like it's like with base, we just had the end of that first year stake cycle. And so now each base token is backed by 1.123 hex. And it just carries on like that. And which has a lot of benefits. And like, I remember when it launched, people that were in Maxi, it's like they were kind of, they were like, why don't you guys just try to protect the premium on Maxi? And it's like, that's actually a very difficult thing to do. And that's not really good for new buyers. Like new buyers, it's better to have a discount. And that's like a killer feature of these, is that you have the chance of buying them at a discount, which gives you, like right now, if you were to be buying DEFC, say you're buying 0.84 hex per EDESC with about 9 years left, your effective APY is actually something like 42% compared to just a normal DESC holder whose APY is like 30%. And that's because you're getting 10 years of yield in 9 years, and you're getting a bonus 15% on your principal, and you're locking in a T-share rate that is now 20% higher. And so like the discounts are really kind of a key feature of these hex stake pools. And it's actually a very fair deal, I think. Like even if you have to sell your DESC at a discount, think about what your early end stake penalty would be right now if you were selling a 10-year stake 1 year into it. You'd go full nukage, but you can at least sell your DESC for whatever, like 0.85 hex. And even though that's a discount to the underlying principal and plus yield, you're getting infinitely more than you would having early end staked. And so it's actually like a very, like the discounts, I think we used to kind of fear the discount, but now I kind of view the discount as like a killer feature of it. And like, that's the like incoming liquidity that makes it all work. Yeah. And so discounts, I actually think, are a big benefit to buyers, and it kind of rounds out that other side of the equation. Yeah. So I actually really, really think that, making these more available to join, I think is beneficial for these. And also it puts it kind of into context, because if there's ones available to just mint into, but you can get more T-shares per hex by just buying one, and then the pool party platform makes it easier to understand, what's the best way to acquire hex stakes right now, then that's having these different options is really powerful.
But they're also, I think something that people learned from just the first year of the base stake is they're hard assets to obtain. Like it probably one of my, not my biggest fear, or like, but it was just like, did we create assets that are too valuable that like people really didn't want to put them in liquidity pools? They did not want to sell them. And that was probably in that first year, everyone's like, I want to buy base, but no one's like willing to sell because, every base that was minted was by the community 1-to-1 with Hex. We didn't like mint extra supply to put in an LP for people and dilute the pool. So everything, all the liquidity was community driven. But because they're such valuable tokens earning Hex yield, it's like people didn't want to sell them. So there is definitely incentive to participate in stake pool mint phases, because there's not a guarantee, like there may be a discount, but it's like there might be limited supply to actually buy the asset at that price. It's like it's a very interesting system to observe. I've learned a lot just watching it this past year.
I remember when Maximus launched, either it's on the website, or I remember Dipcatcher saying it somewhere, like the whole idea of trading one token, like and getting another token back, was just this, to me, is like this new thing. Oh, okay, so what is this? Like a swap? It's not you mint a new one from depositing. Like what is it? Like took me a minute to wrap my head around. Okay, this is interesting. And then I remember, one of you saying like it was like in a very non-promise way, but it was like the Hex you put in, the coin you get back will probably be worth more. It was something like that. I just remember hearing that. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe it'd be worth more. And then after everything happened, the launch phase hit, and I'm like, well, obviously it's worth more. It's this huge stake. Like, the mechanics started to come into place afterwards, and it was just this funny first product that it just really kicked everything off. It was kind of amazing once you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. It's kind of like minting like these stake pools. It's kind of like a coat check or like a receipt where, and then like just the minting and the redemption, that's just the accounting where it, tracks, what's the ratio of like Hex to Maxi. And then at the end of the stake, what's the ratio of Maxi to Hex? And so
it's a really clean way of doing it. I really like, I didn't quite get it at first. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And then, very cool. And then back then, of course, it's your first product. I was a lot more skeptical. I'm like, oh, again, like maybe it will be. Like, what if it fails? What if something happens? And then you guys make 10 products more. I'm like, okay, I think they're okay. They're doing okay. They're doing okay so far.
No, honestly, the simplicity of it was crazy, because like initially when Dipcatcher had the idea for Hex stake pools, like the way we were going to execute it was so crazy. Like we were going to use this DAO platform called Aragon, and people would have to like send their coins, and then the DAO would have to like vote to like approve them getting the pool tokens, and like it was a crazy system. And then Dipcatcher was able to build a contract that made it so simple for the accounting, and that was the word I was looking for before with our that we utilize ERC20s as like a unit of account, and it's pretty. I think that's probably one of the most innovative things we've done, is just how we utilize ERC20s, and I think it's unlike how a lot of people use them.
Yeah, like the whole like mint on deposit and burn on redemption. It just works so easy.
Yeah. What do you got before you move on? What do you all think of this post that came across it by shout out to Alan Rentz the other day? eDeci, this was almost a week ago now, but he's listing the different prices for T-shares and stuff with some of the perpetuals. $22 for T-share price for eDeci. I don't know if it's moved up or down. Maybe y'all can tell me, but what do you make of just the ability to get cheap T-share? Like, I mean, Hedron and otherwise, there's other products that do this, but there's a lot of products in the Maximus ecosystem just like, hey, here's a discount if you're looking for it.
Yeah, I mean that discount, it's even more impressive because it's $22 per T-share with Deci, and those T-shares are earning for 9 years. So like, because that's really the thing, even more important than like the T-shares is the T-share days.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is that like when this idea first came up, when I first kind of wrote down the concept about it, the name I wrote down was Share Days, which Maximus is much better branding. But that was the premise, was like trying to capture the value of like the share days, because like that's what matters. It's like, because you could have a T-share for $22, but if it's only earning for one day, like who gives a shit? But the $22 T-share earning for 9 more years, like that's a big deal. And so that's like that's not even captured right there. But that like with the earnings over all time, and especially when like my prediction, which doesn't feel like a prediction because it's kind of obviously it's going to happen, is that right around the 7-year mark and the max length stakes reach the midway point that lets you take out your principal, basically. We're going to see so much early end staking at the 7-year mark from OG 15-year stakes, and that daily payout per T-share from 2027 through 2035 is just going to be massive. And so the stakes that are live during that time at the share rate as of last year, it's just going to absorb so much hex from those penalties, because that's if all the yield, so the penalty is going to be all the yield earned over 7 years on a max length stake, and those OG stakes are earning over 100% APY, so it's like going to be what at that time, like 7x the principal maybe from those super OG stakes.
Wow.
And so like for every hex that's max length stake then ended at the 7-year mark, it's like 6 times that amount is going to be paid in penalties to a smaller group of share. It's like all the shares are going to get wiped out from those stakes, which are dominant, and then the penalties are paid to a smaller share pool. Like it's going to get crazy in the last couple of years of DECI.
It's going to be a party.
Yeah. I mean, for me watching, like, cause I've been tweeting out from the Maximus account, just the price of T-shares as they've gone down. And it's kind of in line with, just the price of hex and the bear market. But it's like, I don't know. It's there's going to be a day when that discount does not exist and the price of hex goes up and T-shares are going to be hundreds of dollars again. And it's just one of those things we're going to look back on and be like, holy crap. Like I could have got a $20 T-share and I didn't do it. So I try, like, I
do a T-shirt. Somebody make that T-shirt, please. I could have got a $22 T-shirt.
Instead, I got this $22 T-shirt.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
So yeah, I mean, I try not to. I don't know. I've learned, over the past year, just running the Maximus account, like I try not to tell people like what to do anymore. I just try to make people aware of the opportunities that are in front of them, and I think. You can only lead a horse to water. Like I feel like everyone is aware of where these prices are at. Some people look at it as a bad thing. But to the people who understand that, like, these are no different than if you were to stake and get T-shares, and they're easier to get and they have other benefits. The people that get them, and the people that don't. And all we can do is just try to make people aware. And, I think the people that capture the opportunity are going to be winning big in the future. And the people who discredit or ignore it are going, for whatever reason. Like people have their reasons for not liking hex stake pools, but yeah, I mean,
I don't think anyone actually dislikes them anymore.
Basically, I don't think so either. I saw somebody make the argument about like it ruining Hex's game theory or whatever, and I hadn't seen that in, like, I'm not joking, like 8 months. It was
a guy, his name is Good Texture. He was around early on, then everyone hated him, but I actually really liked him because him and I were both into Ample, and he got all the heat for it, and I just go off scot-free. But he was trying to accuse Hedron of ruining it, and I was arguing that it's not true, but if what you're saying is true, then like this is a much more direct marketplace, the aftermarket for the hex stakes. Like I was kind of inserting it, but it's like it was all part of the, like, it's all just part of the game. Like, if it was meant to not exist, then it would have been explicitly blocked.
Yeah.
Like, and so
I like those principles.
I think everyone in Hex should seriously be supporting anything that is like pushing Hex forward and bringing attention to it, because like we're living through a very, very interesting time in our history. Obviously amplified by the bear market, but also just with PulseChain launching, like, our community is kind of scattered right now. Not a lot of people are still talking about Hex. Even the OG people that were talking about Hex in the first years, it's the community has changed. But we're honestly I would say one of the few people who still deeply believe in Hex, and we're pushing the ball forward every day, trying to build products to expand this ecosystem, and get more people in and more dollars into Hex, because it's not going to happen on its own. Like, I think people kind of rest on their laurels of like, price will just magically come back. But it's like, when you look back on what made Hex great early, it was that people were talking about it, were passionate about it, and were actively trying to grow the community and the coin. And we're taking the approach that we feel best suited to, which is building products that solve problems and support it. And we're going to continue to do that. So, if you still believe in Hex, like, become a gladiator and help us really push this thing forward. Help us really grow. Pool Party is a chance for Hex to like really explode and become something I don't think anyone could have dreamed of. Like, it's going to bring a lot of new energy. And so, yeah, join us.
Gladiators. One more question before. That was very well said, by the way. Like, I think we talked about it before. I had Goldkey on Mad Gains Mindset, and we were talking about Hex and just how it is one of those things. The communities went in 10 different directions, and Hex is like the old thing that nobody cares about anymore. T-shares, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what you're talking about. When's 10,000X? Where's that at? Show me that. Yeah. And it is Hex. Hex is here because the community is here supporting it. And, if I look around and nobody's here one day, then, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? The community. Quick question, Mr. Chuck. Are you both communists? No, that's not the question. I hope they minted the communists beside the Hedron and Icosa before ending the base stake.
It could.
You're all supporting communists? Okay. What's the question?
That launched after base, and base is immutable, so there's no adding it to it. And I'm still thinking if we're going to add it to the Pool Party ones, just because it's more complicated than just like minting the Hedron. Like, there's a little bit more kind of like, I guess, strategy to it. And it's like, I'm in a mood where I'm trying to like reduce complexity. And it's like, if it misses out on the communists, then it's, our gift to the remaining communist people.
Communists. You're perpetuating this. I know everyone says communist. It looks like communist. No, it's actually communist. Like, I know it's a very nascent fact. But
is
yeah,
that a type of cloud?
I think it's Latin for community or something like that. I forget what it is.
I think it's something like that.
But it sounds like the cloud angle. I like that though too. I never thought of that. Interesting. But yeah, it's that's where the communist shit came from.
It may find its way in the stake pools, but also with the way that the stake pools interact with Party, we can actually always launch new like variations of the stake pools. Like, the way Party is designed is to be to be able to like, where we can add on any of these different like asset launching modules. And so like we're still figuring out exactly what the like pool structures are going to be, but like we could even add the existing perpetual pool structure. We have this new one with the modified diamond hands, and then also like, we could like say the Cumulus integration doesn't make it in this round. It could make it into a future upgrade on the Hex stake pools, and so it might make its way in there.
Shout out to Communist, by the way. Free airdrop for Hex stakers. You can't stake it with off. Is that what it is? You can't stake it if you buy it off the market. You can only stake it if you or get it from the stakes. Yeah, something like that. Like that was an interesting dynamic of like trying to incentivize the behavior. So.
Yeah, I hope honestly, I'm surprised more people haven't done it. Like I hope more people launch hex staking incentive tokens like Hedron and Com. I think it's a great model, and there's a lot of opportunity to like, create different token. Like Com is actually a pretty innovative model. It's almost too complex where it kind of pushes the bounds, but like it does open up some interesting strategy around like, do you want to mint all your Com or do you want to stake it? You have to make that decision up front, which I think is interesting.
Good.
I honestly think
No, I was going to bring up the question here too. From Dreddy. So yeah, 50K team staked all last year. What did you earn from it?
The rewards came out to be about 5% on team for the first year. Actually, a little more because so the rewards the team got was a little bit of hex from base, a little bit of hedron from base, a little bit of hedron from poly, and some team and Maxi that the mystery box had airdropped into the contract. So so it came out to about like 5 or 6%.
In 10 seconds or less, what is the mystery box? What are you talking about?
It's just an address that was involved in the max or in the team launch, and it got half of the Maxi that went into it, and then half of the team supply, and it can do whatever it wants with it. It's a pure mystery. But if you look at what it's done, it has airdropped team to team stakers, and then all the diamond hand contracts for base, trio, lucky, and desi. It also airdropped Maxi to the team contract, and it has also bought team with Maxi, and then also has provided a bunch of liquidity, about $200,000 of liquidity to the Maxi team pairs on PulseX and PHUX. So those have been things that the mystery box has done, is basically given away money and then provided liquidity.
Mystery box is the benevolent well we hopefully we deserve among the other wells. There's some cool wells in the ecosystem. Just want to bring this up to Maximus down matchup. Shout out to Sweaty. That's not Sweaty Edits. Hex Edits. He inspired me to do this on my time off. I took about 10 days off from streaming, and what did I do? I did like 150 vintage RH clips, and I did Maximus down mashup. Put together some of the early stuff from you guys did. Look at that young dip catcher and Goldkey right there. Look at that. You guys were like 18 right there or something. Crazy. Not even a year and a half ago, but yeah. Put together stuff. I'm just going to play it. There's no sound. Everyone, I'll put it in the chat if you want to go watch it. But you want to talk about, while we see the different videos and clips and stuff, the early days when you guys got together. I know you got together way before this, been friends forever. But when you're building these products and you're first launching the media, the code, putting the stuff out, Maximus, I don't know. Talk about them feels a little bit. Like, what did it feel like to actually become, like, I guess, founders in the Hex ecosystem and start building these stuff?
I mean, not much different. I mean, we've been working on early stage kind of groundbreaking products for years now, since 2015 together. So like, in terms of like building something, that wasn't like a new thing. I think what's different now, I mean, it was, I'd say that like in the last thing, in this like legal platform that we had built at our previous, at this company that we were at, like that was one where there was like very high demand from the users, a ton of users. And then with this one, it was kind of even just like more of that, where like there was like a lot of, like on the first launch, there were like 5,000 people that participated in Maxi. And then by now there's about 10,000 people eligible for the airdrop. So that's like a rough count of how many people have participated in this stuff. And so it definitely feels awesome to, kind of come in with like a really good solution that a lot of people are like really excited about, and like it was really useful for people. So I'd say that always feels good. And then I don't know, just like the whole process, it's fun. Like, it's not just the launches that are fun. Like it's
just kind of the whole thing from, you know, driving discussion, you know, building, iterating, and it's just a lot of fun, you know. So it's kind of we're used to it now, but you know, it's always fun, and we're very, very blessed to be able to do this stuff for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. Like, it's just thinking back on like when we first came out with Maximus, and everything we've done has been organic. Like, we haven't spent any money on marketing. So, you know, starting from zero to where we are today has been a crazy journey. And I don't know, I'm just like incredibly grateful to have the community that we have, and to be, I don't know, just a part of something special. With both Hex and with PulseChain, we're kind of a part of this very grassroots movement, and you know, grateful to Richard Hart, grateful to all the creators and just the everyday people who give their time and energy to this whole movement. Like, that's what really makes it special. And I'm grateful to be able to like contribute to that. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be an inventor. Like, I filled up books with drawings and like thought I had invented like a flying car. So like to be able to do that today is pretty special. And I feel aligned with like what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's a good feeling.
I like that. The Maximus is the flying car of the Hex ecosystem. Boom. I like it. Well, let's get into updates then. I know there's been a lot of stuff going on. We were talking in the green room about how to like talk about team and the base minting and like the whole, everything's reset. There's a new thing to get into. Like, what is exciting and going on in Maximus right now?
Well, the base stake period just ended. So the last day was October 9th when it got kicked off.
Yeah.
And so now we have, it came out to be like, there we are, 109 million PHEX staked and 94 million EHEX. So less than what the end earnings were, 112 million on both. So there was net outflow, but if you compare the restake ratio compared to just like normal users, it was actually much higher. So, so that's, I think, a pretty good achievement there. And I think what that's a signal of is just that like the bear market, I think, is hitting people a lot harder than they thought it was. Like, base launched at a time when people thought that was the bottom. It was about like 2 or 3 cents. And then it went up to like 12 cents during base, and then down to, you know, down effectively 90%, you know, from there. And so and we saw it with team too. Like, as soon as people's first year team came unlocked, we saw a lot of selling. And then same with their, like, right away, right when it became unlocked, whole lot of redemption, whole lot of selling of the Hex. And so I think that just like, you know, every year base is going to end at a different time in the cycle. And so this was an example of how a base stake looks like towards the end of a, you know, like deep into a bear cycle. And maybe, you know, similar kind of sentiment is seen in the discounts on some of the pool tokens, which, I mean, the discounts really are kind of going away by now. But it kind of makes sense that if there's low demand for just like normal liquid Hex, then there's also, you know, especially low demand for pre-staked Hex. But maybe during a bull market, if there's high demand for Hex, there may be even like elevated demand for pre-staked Hex. So it's kind of I think that we'll see, especially with base ending every year, we'll see how it looks during different cycles. I think comparing these charts to, you know, like what it looks like at the end of next cycle. Like, what if at the end of the next cycle, we're like in a bull cycle, a lot more interest in staking Hex, and then the mint ratio, it's probably going to be like coming out to what, like 120 million or so, whatever 12% is of 109. Like, who knows, we might see like the chart of minting like kind of have like a little dip right away and then like be much higher than where it ended. So that remains to be seen next year.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, this was the reload phase was very different than, you know, launching a new stake pool, because, well, one, we didn't start from zero, but two, it was like, as you can see, like it initially dropped, and so it's a good reminder that like these are hex stake pools, and people that earned, were staked for that period, definitely redeemed. A lot of people redeemed their hex because they were, done with the stake, and then it like flattened out. So like through this, like, normally we're like driving the hex, the amount of hex up, and initially it was like dropping pretty steadily. I was like, well, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's kind of more of a reflection of where hex is and how, what people want to do. But then it kind of flattened out, and then towards the end picked up. So it was fun to watch. I'm glad it went up towards the end there, but it was a fun week for sure, just to observe.
I just saw this. Oh my god, the thumbs up from Richard's one. Sorry, I was scrolling trying to find team updates, and I come across the Dipcatcher posting 10i.com stuff. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way that's his thumb, and so I just reverse image searched it, and it's like, I think the earliest times that image appeared on the internet was like 2004.
Dude, he loves audio chats too, so that message was totally on par. It was not AI generated. That was like totally Richard saying that. Like I could see him being like, "Damn it, Twitter,
God, I made the
do stuff for
video.
me."
I made the funniest video of like, just like, I don't know. I'll share it. Maybe I'll post it.
Oh my god, that is wow! Somebody made this. You made this, or
no, I didn't make that.
No, that was Hex Edit.
Oh, shout out again to Hex Edits.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He's an awesome creator for sure.
Where's the team updates? I'm gonna start searching Goldkeys now. Where's the team updates
for
team or for yeah?
You'll scroll up. You'll see it or at least on my page. I posted the team restake rate was down big, about like 50%. And so what that means is that
this one.
No, probably higher. No, lower.
Let's see.
It might have been in a reply.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. I actually don't think I tweeted out an update on team stake. I was pretty focused on base.
Yeah, so less team staking, so which is good for the team stakers, because like the year one earnings were like known that they were going to be pretty small. And so the just because the only one paying into it was base. Year three is really when there's going to be a big year. Next year it's going to be probably pretty small again. So it's good that there's less staking, because just like, more earnings per person. But year three is going to get crazy, because at year three, the team stakers are set to earn the whole big wad of Maxi from the launch of team. Like 20% was burnt, and then 30% of it went into a escrow contract that redistributes it to the team stakers. So there's a bunch of Maxi who go to team stakers in that year. Trio ends, and so Trio is like 3 years of yield all in one, and base ends at the same time, the third cycle of base. So year three is like really where the team stake yield starts to pick up.
Yeah.
I give up. I'm just going to click on this one. Is this? I just clicked on one that talked about team. Is it relevant? No, probably not.
So that was, Total's team stake. That was for period one.
Here, I'll pull it up. Let me look it up.
Okay. I tried.
If you go to team.maximus.cash, you can actually see it.
Okay. You guys have websites?
Yeah, I am working on like a site, an updated landing page to like host all of our, because like the maximusdao.com was focused on the perpetuals and team, but I need to include all the other products we've launched.
Okay, so that shows that there's 2 million teams staked into year three. So people have already started committing to year three that missed year two. And that doesn't show the team staked for year. Go to Etherscan.
Do you have a link, or should I just poke around?
Here, I'm just gonna pull up the number.
So like one of those. Then there used to be a job where it was like a telerecorder person, where you would tell them over the phone to type stuff, and they would type it up. Is there a job that used to be like that?
Okay, so if you like, I'm looking at the. There is now 36 million teams staked into the staking period too.
Is that PulseChain or Ethereum?
That's on Ethereum.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on PulseChain, by the way, so I can switch. Let's see.
Let's refresh the page.
I don't really use Ethereum anymore. I don't know why you're doing that, so it's very offensive, actually.
Yeah, well, it's because the PulseChain scanner doesn't interpret assets that were copied over as contracts. Like you can't even look up you can't do the like read functions on scan.pulsechain because you can for team, but some of the assets, let's see if it even lets you. Okay, so you have to go in and re-verify them, but some of the assets don't even show up as contracts.
How do I disconnect the app from this? I'm trying to switch networks to Ethereum, but I can't.
Switch it. Like just switch the.
I switched the network, but then, yeah, I'm on Ethereum here.
Refresh the page.
Let's see. I can try rebooting the computer.
Go ahead and burn your house down and rebuild it. And
Actually, I think refreshing the page, I'll just try that. I'll try that first. Okay, here we go.
So that's
showing 3 million
into year 3. So people have already started staking in for that next cycle. But if that's, let's see. I'll pull up a number and I'll tweet about it, but it's probably about 40 million. If I was to guess.
Wow. Nice. So just for people watching too, like team it gets I guess what is the not its purpose, but doesn't it get to earn some from perpetuals? I forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It gets half of the bigger pays better bonus. Yeah. And it gets the hedron from those pools, which really isn't a lot. Like it's kind of insignificantly small.
But a lot of people like team. There's a lot of people I see like is that the coin that we talked about this before too? Like if there's one Maximus token that could do the 10,000x, it's team DCA, which has no ceiling, I guess.
So the least ceiling is probably WATR.
Yeah.
Team is probably more like it's because like WATR really means nothing. Like there may be some kind of little bonus thing related to pool party with it, but it's like pure collectible. But because of that, it like has no bound. Team has earnings, and the earnings can get really high. And with the party launch, the team supply could get very scarce. Like if most of the supply of team gets minted into party by burning it, now there's less team to split up the rewards to. The rewards get really big in year 3, gets even more big in year 6. Year 9 is going to be crazy. Year 10 is also going to be crazy. And so like team has very high yield years starting around that time. And, this is just one such kind of how like Maxi supply got burned when team launched. And now team supply is going to be getting burnt when party launches.
WATR did 61,000% on PulseChain.
Yeah, like
on the bottom.
Water pumped.
Wow. Water pumped makes sense.
But yeah, so that's because they're not bound. Like DCA, I wouldn't put in that category because like if the price gets shockingly high, then it makes it feasible to just mint new. Like you can just mint your buddy pass token. And so like
okay. I was thinking DCA ends after the last nobody mints it for a month or something. Wasn't that it?
So yeah, so DCA and like it does no more minting if it doesn't happen for a month, and then it becomes fixed. And so on PulseChain, because it wasn't meant to be mintable on PulseChain, like the ratio for minting it was set based on Ethereum because it launched months before PulseChain. So the version on Ethereum is still active, but the PulseChain one is not.
Interesting.
And I've thought about relaunching it for PulseChain, basically just adjusting the rate so it's like fair with the Ethereum one. But as of now, it's a Ethereum purchase.
Do we have a PRTY situation with DCA?
I mean, anything can happen.
Wow. Very interesting when you change blockchains and million excess stuff and all that.
It's along a similar topic, this is deep in the weeds, but WATR's minting phase actually ended in July. And so when PulseChain launched, someone went and minted a bunch of WATR. So the WATR supply on PulseChain is much larger than Ethereum. And so I personally just, if you really look at the whole situation, the WATR people from Ethereum to me are like first-class citizens, compared to like, just because, it was the way it's designed, but if you can mint, however, I think towards the end, it was like one WATR per ETH or something. But that means, so like WATR became infeasible to mint after some time, but then on PulseChain, Solidity interprets one ETH is equal to one PulseChain. And so like one PulseChain per WATR. So someone, minted a bunch of the WATR tokens on PulseChain after the copy, after the fork.
Someone also,
some nuance there.
Someone also, I heard Alex say this, like sniped all the HSIs at fork from like OpenSea.
Oh yeah,
for like nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know if it was the AMM bot?
No, they went through OpenSea and like bought all the listed HSIs that were on there.
Oh, because I know that the AMM bot, it did way more than just buying from Uniswap V2 pools, which is the original plan.
It bought from every DEX. I thought that was
every DEX. It like figured out how to extract value from all the different vaults, like even beyond DEXs.
They had time to prepare.
Yeah, and like it's got, which I think that it like that probably has hurt adoption from other DeFi systems, is that if you had money on a DeFi platform, if there was some route where like if you had the ability to run transactions when no one else can and mint PLS to run your transaction, if you could, like, meaning there's one address that had the power to do that, if your DeFi protocol like in some way could be kind of like could be extracted through that mechanism, then it like that's like what happens. So like a lot of Aave stuff, because like you could all those systems, they were locked in, like all their oracles no longer apply.
Yeah.
And so all the like rules for minting or like depositing collateral and then like withdrawing some other asset, all that was like basically paused when PulseChain launched. And then if you had Pulse that you could just mint, and then you have the wrapped Pulse contract with copied over, anything that took in wrapped Pulse for for like collateral or anything could be used to kind of pull assets out of those systems. So I think that like I wish that it would have been limited to just the Uniswap pools and not that more kind of extensive use.
Yeah, it did kind of, because that's the thing when you look at like DeFi Llama, a lot of those DEXs are multi-chain. So I don't know, maybe one day Uniswap and like those other DEXs will support PulseChain, but kind of I do kind of feel like we shot ourselves in the foot with the AMM bot, kind of robbing all the liquidity from there, for them to just not like flip a switch and support. But I don't know, it's a trade-off, because like obviously the liquidity of PulseX is a good signal to a lot of people that look at lists, you know, of top like TVLs of dexes and stuff.
But also the thing is, if the AMM bot didn't do that, then users would have, like the first, like users who would figure out how to do that, like they would just do it. Maybe they couldn't print the PLS, but if like the contracts interpret one PLS as one ETH and one wrapped PLS is one wrapped ETH, then, you know, other users could have captured that, which may have been a good thing. Like, you know, and I mean, it's kind of what happened on, like, I saw you highlight the ETH POW. Like, there are a couple of people that really profited from that discrepancy in the value of the unit that the EVM interprets. And like, you know, there's no AMM bot on ETH POW or any of those, but then, you know, quick acting users were able to capture value, and then that's what restored the ratios across the board. Yeah. So maybe it should have been up to users to be able to realize that gain instead of like a bot that did it before the launch. But who knows? That maybe that would have caused other problems.
Decentralization. We're gonna get the DAO on PulseX, man. I need the DAO. Need the DAO on PulseX. Imminent, maybe. Yeah.
That's probably like the one thing that I'm like most bullish on PulseX is that there is a lot of like, there's pretty much only upside on like product development. It's, you know, very baseline DEX right now.
I love that. I love that comment. That's so much meta into that comment. Yes. But I agree. It's only up from here.
Yeah.
But what's tough is that there's a lot of competition with not only just like other DEXs that people may launch, but like any DEX innovation that happens on Ethereum or any other network can be kind of ported over here. And so like just the category of DEXs, like it is very competitive. And while PulseX has the advantage of kind of being the like, kind of like brand wise, it's like kind of the official DEX of PulseChain. Users, and especially like the routers, it's like they find the best track. And so definitely I think that like it's the most competitive space of all. Yeah. That is cool. That's cool how that's
sick. That's very cool.
That's my last shirt, my number 5. You know, you guys create coins. I create t-shirts. There you go. There you go.
You do make sick t-shirts.
Thank you. Just want to wrap up. Go ahead, Goldkey.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay. Well, if nothing else, gents, amazing conversation. Just want to wrap up here with the question I ask everyone. You got Florida Gator shirt on. Nice.
15-year stay. It's the official jersey of Maximus team.
I thought it was like some kind of Richard joke of like Fort Lauderdale or something.
Maybe
dangerous place. That place I've heard.
I pulled up to Goldkey's family party this weekend and I waxed everyone's ass in beer pong wearing this shirt.
That's true.
It's your lucky beer pong shirt. Nice. Everyone's got one of those. But wrap up on this. I've been asking everyone this on Founders Week. I made it up, and so users sitting there again. People may know the ecosystem, may not. Maximus coins, they may own some, they may not. They may be hardcore stakers, they may know nothing about it. But let's say, hey, I've got my Hex coins, I got my PulseChain bag. What am I buying Maxi for? What am I doing with the Maximus ecosystem? DCA, WATR, Poly. What do I need these things for? Just briefly, you guys want to kind of shout out to the people who are just kind of on the fence, wondering whether they should participate or not?
I'd say that they like we capture the full risk reward spectrum in these assets. Like on the very low risk side, we have base, which is basically like, you know, wrapped hex that grows at the 1-year hex yield rate. And then on the higher end of the risk, we have, you know, DCA and Maxi with like the long-term ones. And then even higher risk, we have team. And then WATR is like by far the highest risk one. And then, you know, DCA, it's like, you know, you're buying access to a trading tool, and then you have a revenue share piece there. And so they all kind of have a different kind of role, and they all fit a different point in the risk profile. So like even just holding a portfolio of these different assets, like you can capture, you know, a whole lot of different, you know, like risk reward breakdowns within that. And I think that that's, you know, and it's a common theme that you'll see with a lot of our stuff is that like, it's almost like, you know, we can't help ourselves but to build stuff, and the new things tend to kind of, you know,
somehow interact with the old ones. It's like we had Maxi, and then when Team launched, it's like, okay, you can mint with Maxi, and it burnt Maxi and all that. And then now we have the like party launch that airdrops to all the holders of any of these assets, and you can mint it with Team. And so it's kind of like these on their own are good assets, but then sometimes there's just like these hidden benefits of holding them that, so I think that it's like a good way to capture different like risk reward profiles, and then also just kind of being there for any of these kind of side benefits and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Maximus is really the land of opportunity, and we kind of talked through each of our assets and the unique things that they do. And so I would just encourage people, like, people say do your own research all the time. Really dive into these assets. I think we've created some really high quality assets, and they each serve a unique purpose. And the goal of DeFi and self-custody and all of this is like fitting the tools available into what you want. And with learning about HEX and staking ladders, utilizing our tools to to earn yield over time on your own time horizons, and match that with what you think the market's going to do with HEX. And ultimately, I think we're all yield maxis. So figure out how to optimize your yield and optimize your liquidity strategy with the tools available.
Well said, gentlemen. We all appreciate you. Also, literally, I can't. It's really, I mean, other than likes, subscribes, and handshakes and high fives in person, and just good vibes. I don't know how to express how much we appreciate the builders in this community, especially you two gentlemen who have really built a sub ecosystem that it's. I don't know, the definition of utility. It really is. It's the definition of utility. So super shout out to both of you for that.
Appreciate that, man. We gotta come up to Seattle sometime.
Yes, come up. You get some more free t-shirts. Yes, come to our meetup. We got local meetups. We usually have a good time. We go to like parks and restaurants and bowling and all kinds of cool stuff. So yes, please let me know when you're in the area, and we will. Cryptographics came down the other day too, and we had a good time too. So let me know when you're around. Definitely.
Yeah, we will.
Love to have you. All right, everyone. Tomorrow we have PH ecosystem. Get to learn about all the stuff you like or don't like. We're going to find out. We're going to deep dive into it and take a very objective view, and love a lot of stuff they're building as well. And then Friday we have a demo day. Again, any builder in the community wants to show up on Friday, demo their stuff. You get 10 minutes, do a demo, take questions, all that. It's open to everyone. Just come in the green room, tell me what your thing is, and I'll pull. You pull it up or I'll pull it up, whatever. And then also Tetra in the morning. So Tetra slid in on Friday as well. So we talk about Tetra and all the stuff it can do for the ecosystem too. So
has Tetra launched their tool yet? Their
Atlas, not yet. I think it's supposed to be this month sometime. So very close. And as PulseChain validator, I'm excited. To see more network traffic. Everyone, Scivive and 5555. We are out.